I'm really at a loss for words. Because I don't want to say the wrong thing. But in this situation, the wrong thing is the right thing. Jordan got a death sentence for being mentally disturbed and dancing on a train, trying to make a living impersonating Michael Jackson. What are we saying? Us poor people. Because all you see all over the news, right? Us poor people. What are we saying about each other when a man could come on a train and get frustrated and choke a mentally disturbed man to death?
All right, this just in, breaking news out of New York and the subway chokehold case we've been following for the last week. The jury has now come back with a verdict of not guilty in the Daniel Penny murder trial on the criminally negligent homicide charge. The jury could not come to an agreement on Friday on the charge of manslaughter. The judge tasked them with coming to a verdict on this lesser charge, and now they have, again, not guilty for Daniel Penny. Let's go back to New York and Rich McHugh. Rich, this just coming in. I'm imagining people outside the courtroom may not have even heard this yet. What are you hearing about the decision from this jury and reaction?
Well, it was rather quick, Marnie. They came back. They said, we have a verdict. It was read in court, not guilty. Immediately, there was both applause and outbursts, anger. Jordan Neely's father was escorted from the court, as were some of the other people, because of their outbursts. And now apparently we're hearing it behind us. There's protests growing in front of the court. Can't really make out what they're saying, but this is a huge moment in this trial. Obviously, Daniel Penny acquitted on the lower charge, and he can no longer be charged on the higher charge. So from my understanding, this is over at this point, unless there is some way to for the prosecution to bring this back. I don't see that, but it looks to be over. Daniel Penny will walk free.
The jury quick to come back with that decision. The judge sending them home on Friday, essentially saying, take the weekend, don't think about this case, come back Monday, ready to go to deliver a verdict on this lesser charge. Now we've got the not guilty. Rich, take us back through the crux of this case and the defense's argument throughout the entirety of the trial.
Well, the defense basically said, look, this was self-defense by Daniel Penny. Jordan Neely got on the train, threatened he was going to kill people. He was not afraid to go to prison for the rest of his life. Daniel Penny got up behind him, put him in a chokehold, and subdued him for, I think it was 6 minutes. They say, his defense lawyers, and he has said, look, he was never trying to hurt Jordan Neely, but he was trying to protect the other passengers on the train who were legitimately terrified for their life. The defense all along has been like self-defense. And Jordan Neely, the prosecution, said, look, he was acting recklessly and went way too far, went way further and longer than he should have in trying to subdue Jordan Neely. And so that has been the kind of the back and forth. The question has always been, was the force justified? Was what Daniel Penny did justified? Was it, the causation and justification? Those are the two key things. And that seemed to be what the jurors had been hung up on.
And it's like, as a father, right? As a father of children that's autistic, what happens if me and my wife pass away, or my child's mother, and somehow my disturbed child ends up on public transportation because enough people is not angry. What happens as a parent when we no longer alive and there's nobody to protect your mentally disturbed son and daughter? We are living in a time where there's no place, there's no protection, there is no love for the mentally disturbed. But autism is on the rise. Any parent that has an autistic child should be furious and you should be afraid, because it seemed like that's the go-to. Every time somebody calls 911 for somebody that's mentally disturbed, they end up in a body bag. So now, I'm afraid. Because I don't know what to do in this situation. All I can do is see. We already seen that white boy didn't have no mercy. He took out 400 years of whatever frustration he had on somebody that was mentally disturbed, homeless, hungry, broke, suffering in poverty. You know what it felt like to be hungry every day, homeless every day, and got to figure out how to smile and make people dance to amuse them, just for them to put change in a cup. And this dude, he's getting frustrated on a train where he could have just walked to the opposite side of the train. He could have walked to another cart. He could have got off the train like, let me get away from him, because he's irritating me. Nah. That broke, hungry, mentally disturbed man got put in a chokehold. And it's obviously you choking him. You feel that you're stronger than him. You feel the life. You feel his body going limp. And then you continuously, once you felt him, like I wrestled back in the days. We used to wrestle in the hallways. We always put each other in the headlock and choke till the person get limp. Then we know to let go. That man was defeated. He squeezed life out of somebody that was hungry, homeless, hurting, confused, beat up by life. Any parent that has children that's autistic, you have to figure out, we have to figure out, if something happens to us, nobody's going to care or love your autistic child, your mentally disturbed child. Nobody's going to care. Us parents got to start coming together and bringing more awareness to mental health. Being mentally ill, being homeless should not be a death sentence. It shouldn't. And I can't not look at this situation and not see my autistic children. I can't not just sit up there and picture that young man being one of my kids. It hurts. It hurts. Then you look at the news. All I see is poor people worrying about rich nigga problems. I ain't never seen Jay-Z come to the aid of black people. He would be overshadowing a story of a mentally disturbed black poor man. Even in his death, he was wronged. He got a death sentence for being mentally disturbed on an empty stomach. You know how frustrating, angry, irritated you are when you're hungry and homeless and cold and you on the subway? Oh, you not entertained?